Okay, I could do a 10-minute rant on a Superman trailer that has recently just dropped. I'm not really going to do that because honestly that trailer is like, 2 minutes long? So 10 minutes? So, no. I will talk about that, but I also want to talk about the new HBO documentary special that just dropped, simply called Superman, 2 words. And it is about Christopher Reeve. I think I'm going to start with that just because, basically, the Superman documentary is pretty good. I will have to say, there's something about just the way, what is it about the John Williams Superman theme that just really inspires us so much? I don't know what is it about that theme that is just so awesome. The other day I was cooking something and I wanted to have some music in the background, so I think I turned on like an older Superman movie just so I could hear the John Williams Superman theme. And I just totally rocked out to it. It is absolutely one of the best movie themes ever. And so at the opening of the Superman documentary, they show a lot of Christopher Reeve's greatest moments as the Man of Steel. And here's the thing about Superman. I really feel like when it comes to it was just lightning that struck that we've never been able to replicate. It feels like when you think of a Batman movie, you can think of a lot of them. You can think of those older Tim Burton movies. You can think of the the Christian Bale ones. You can even think of the recent Matt Reeves Batman movie. And, but you usually don't think of George Clooney or Ben Affleck, though, do you? In other words, there's just been a lot of revisions of Batman throughout the years. But Superman, I feel like Christopher Reeve, gold standard. I feel like that's just kind of like, there's just no way you can really pass that. I'm told that the Superman and Lois show does a pretty good job showing more of a middle-aged Superman, which I actually kind of like the idea of. I've been kind of watching that off and on. And to see actually that this show, Superman, actually documentary Superman, deals with Christopher Reeve and his accident. Because if you were alive in the mid-1990s, you remember this day, where you heard on the thing that Christopher Reeve essentially fell off a horse and they don't know whether he's going to make it. And then after that, I'm told in the documentary that his head had to be put back on his body. And all I said was like, are you telling me like his head was off or something like that? I'm kind of going like, I didn't realize we had the medical technology to do that. You mean we could actually take somebody and put them on a guillotine and then hack their head off and then put it back on? I don't think that's what they're saying. I think he had a huge injury that honestly, like I said, they didn't know whether he would live. And I just watching this thing and seeing the footage from that just brought it all back. And I remember exactly, it's almost like I remember exactly where I was when this was happening and where I was hearing about it. There's just certain things that just kind of get you, where you say like, where were you when something happened? It's just one of those things that brought it back. Also brought back was Reeve's performance and how he really just made the Superman character, how he went from a complete unknown to one of Hollywood's biggest stars in less than a second, and was really not really able to maintain a lot of solid acting roles after the Superman thing. And that's kind of sad. That usually happens that's kind of the tragedy of typecasting, is kind of what happens. I've seen him in other films, and he usually does a pretty good job. So, but of course, when you look at him, you go like, that's Superman. He's not like someone like Henry Cavill, I think, who I've seen him in other roles, and I don't think Superman when I'm watching, say, The Witcher or some other film he's in. You just don't get that sort of thing. I know nothing about the guy who's playing Superman in this next thing, but I'm going to get to the trailer here, the new Superman trailer here in a little bit. Anyway, so they really go out of their way to show that Christopher Reeve was a good man. And apparently he was married twice, so he's, which honestly I was surprised the film actually dealt with that. It does deal with his relationship with Dana Reeve, which I really think was incredibly sweet, and they were a very loving couple and stayed together, and they have both passed away. And it's a sad story watching it. It really is. You're watching that and you're thinking like, oh, this guy lived a great life. Something I want to bring up that I was surprised was not brought up in this special or this documentary at all when I was watching it, I suddenly remembered, hey, didn't Christopher Reeve appear on an episode of South Park? And so I decided to go ahead and looked up the episode, and I watched it again, and I have to admit that episode kind of holds up. And if you know anything about South Park, this is a show where it decided to show Christopher Reeve, who at the time was considered a hero in fantasy and reality, was sucking the stem cells out of a baby. And I kind of went like, I sort of understand what they were going for. This idea of creating this human angel, this idea that Christopher Reeve, I think, did get hit hard, and he did continue to fight after that. And I will honestly have to say that Christopher Reeve did not truly become Superman until after that accident. It took the actual reality of that to make that true. And he was a genuinely good person who was trying to give a lot that he could to the world. However, South Park addresses the issue that he was already a celebrity and he suddenly got incapacitated, and suddenly and that brought him, I think I would have to say, even more fame. And I think the point of that South Park episode is there are millions of people who are handicapped and differently abled that we see around us who are heroes, and their life is a struggle, and we don't appreciate it at all. And I believe that's kind of what the point of that particular South Park episode is. But the point of that Superman movie, or Superman documentary, is to show that, hey, Christopher Reeve was able to inspire a lot of people, even though he was only able to move just above his neck, really. And I think that's pretty cool. But it does play on that, yeah, he did have a supporting family around him. And I'm assuming he had a lot of financial stuff that was able to support this kind of thing. Because I have to admit, I think we all have this fear that one day we might have some great mental or physical or mental injury that we just couldn't afford to have. I think it's a fear that pervades us as a capitalist society, really. So here's the thing about the new Superman trailer. My James Gunn, who I talked about when I did my Creature Commandos 10-minute rant, and I did not really like that particular show. There are people that are saying like they've watched this trailer and are crying, and I have to admit I couldn't help but be stirred as well, because there's something about this trailer that really brings back the moment that you felt when you were watching Superman fly and help save people, and have what I believe Reeve captured as this incredibly overly done but yet sincere Boy Scout persona. And I can't really tell what they're trying to do with this new Superman movie, but because a lot of the stuff they showed on the trailers, they seem to be introducing a lot of new characters from the DC universe, like Metamorpho, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, and there's so many Easter eggs you can put in there. I enjoyed the beginning of this, showing like a man is being struck down, and you see Superman bleeding and in the snow. And then his super dog comes in help. This is, I believe, the first live action appearance of Krypto the super dog. And I have to say, this is not the breed of dog I thought that Krypto would be, because I don't know, if I've seen Krypto in cartoons and in the comics, usually he's depicted as kind of like a Labrador retriever, but with white. And I don't really think that white Labradors exist in nature, so I think they kind of went with whatever this type of dog was. And something tells me, and been seeing a lot of memes from this thing, so we're going to be talking about this for a long time, I can tell. This idea of like of Clark saying like, "Home, take me home," and then Krypto drags Superman along on his cape in the snow. I don't even know what to even make of that. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I'm sure we'll find out when this film gets released in the summertime, and I probably will see it, and but something tells me this is one of those projects where it's like, if it flops, it'll flop hard, and it's going to make the DC universe look even worse. And I mean, it's really trying to rebuild itself, rebrand itself, and now they're trying to do a good Superman movie that sounds like it's trying to bring back, and even in the trailer they play the Superman theme by John Williams, but on like an electric guitar, because they want to get your nostalgia bones hopping. So yeah, anyway, check out that, both of those particular projects when they come your way, and yeah, this is Mark Rollins from the Geek Church, and I'm signing off.